Hi, my name's Maria from ieltsonlinepreparation.com, and in this video we're going to learn how to brainstorm for IELTS Task 2 writing. Specifically, we'll be looking at what is brainstorming, why is brainstorming important, and then we'll look at techniques as to how we can brainstorm. So to answer the first question, what is brainstorming? It's simply the process of generating ideas that we then organize before we start to write and after we analyze the essay question. Why is brainstorming important? Well, in order to score highly in the task response criteria, you need to have really good ideas that address the task and the essay question directly. Brainstorming is the method that we will use to get those relevant ideas in order to score highly in the task response criteria. So let's look at how we brainstorm. So first of all, you need to use the task words in the essay question to help you structure your brainstorm. Now in IELTS, you have a limited time span. So by using the task words to help you structure your brainstorm, it becomes easier to plan and organize your ideas in subsequent writing processes. In a later video, you'll see how each different set of task words has a separate essay structure. Now, normally, you don't want to edit ideas in a brainstorm. You just want to allow your ideas to flow freely. But by using the task words to help you structure your brainstorm, you are doing some of the work beforehand. The second step is to answer any questions in the task words first of all. Now, if this doesn't make sense, we're going to look at a specific example very soon, and it will make sense then. The last step is to use question words to generate ideas. Question words are words like who is involved, what are they talking about, why is this the case, where is this happening, how does it happen, when does it happen. Let's look at a specific example to see how we can apply these three things. So we've got this essay question. Do the benefits of study abroad justify the difficulties? What advice would you offer to a prospective student? Now you saw in a previous video that we've already learnt how to analyze this question, and we saw in that video that it had two parts to the question. Here, do the benefits of study abroad justify the difficulties? And here, what advice would you offer to a prospective student? So remember, the first step is to use the task words to help you structure your brainstorm. So if we look at the two parts of this question, the first set of task words here asks you a direct question, meaning you have to take a position. You have to decide whether the benefits of studying abroad justify the difficulties, meaning are there more advantages or are there more disadvantages to studying abroad? In the second part of the question, you have to offer advice. Here are the task words. What advice would you offer? So let's take a look at the first half of the question. Now remember, you're going to use the task words to help you structure your brainstorm. And this is what I mean. Take a look at this grid. On my piece of paper, I've written on one side advantages of studying abroad, and then on the other side disadvantages of studying abroad. And in my brainstorm, I'll simply make a list of the advantages and the disadvantages. Already I've organized my ideas into these broad categories, and I'll be able to see at the end of my brainstorm whether there are more advantages or more disadvantages. If you wanted to, you could even include my opinion or your thesis, because that's what the essay question asks for, your opinion. Then, in the second half of the essay question, it asks you to offer advice. So again, down here, all I have to do is advice. And in this part of my brainstorm, I'll think of all of the different pieces of advice that I can offer to a prospective student. So a student who's intending to study abroad. Now when you're brainstorming, it's really important to always have the essay question in your mind, preferably right in front of you as you're brainstorming, to make sure that you're trying to think of relevant ideas. Remember, in normal brainstorming, you don't edit your ideas, But because in Ielts you have such limited time for the brainstorming process, perhaps only a few minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, it means that you have to do a little bit of editing while you're brainstorming. So I suggest you pause the video now and actually take 3 or 4 minutes to think of all the advantages and the disadvantages of studying abroad. Okay, hopefully you've generated some ideas. Here are a few of my ideas. So on the advantages side, I thought that you can be immersed in the culture. Immersed means completely absorbed in the culture. So you can usually learn more quickly. And if your goal is to access an English-speaking university, obviously studying abroad has massive advantages. Another one is that you can practice more listening and speaking. And here you can bring in a personal example from your own country. For example, if you're from an Asian country, you probably practice reading and writing more. So you can mention that more listening and speaking can be practiced in an overseas country. Another advantage is that you get to experience a new culture and a new way of living. And in the process, you grow as a human being or as an adult and you mature. So if we look at the disadvantages, well, obviously, one of them is that it's a lot more expensive to study abroad than it is to study in your own country. And this could increase emotional and financial pressure on you and on your family. Another very big disadvantage is that you may experience homesickness. You may become lonely and feel isolated. And this is part of culture shock. So from these ideas, my opinion, if we scroll down here, is I think yes, there are more advantages than disadvantages to studying abroad, as long as you have the money, as long as you can talk with your family, and also make friends in the new culture and at your school. Now you'll notice that my opinion here, or my thesis statement, answers the essay question directly. Let's take a look at the essay question. So, do the benefits of study abroad justify the difficulties? So, in my thesis statement, I answer that question directly. And here are a few of my ideas for advice for prospective students. So the first one is, ensure you have enough money to cover all of your expenses. And this means that you're not going to be stressed. You can concentrate on your study. Get involved in all of the social activities at your school in order to make friends. This means again that you're not going to feel isolated or lonely, or you're less likely to feel isolated or lonely. Live in a homestay family to learn about the host culture. This might help with culture shock because a host family will be able to teach you about the differences between your culture and the host culture. Make sure you talk to your family regularly on Skype or on the telephone. Maintain a positive attitude and a curiosity about the host culture. And be active in your classroom. Ask questions. Do your homework. Go to class. I'm sure you had a lot more pieces of advice. This is just to give you some ideas. So, to look at what we've done, we use the task words to help us structure our brainstorm. The first part of the question we separated into the advantages and disadvantages. And to address the second part of the question, the task words, we made a list of advice for a prospective student. By doing this, we answered the questions in the task word and the essay question directly. And we didn't actually have to use question words to generate ideas because it was pretty obvious for this particular essay question what we had to think about and what content we would have to include. But if you're getting stuck for ideas, always think about who's involved. So you can think from your own individual perspective, a business perspective, a country perspective. You can think about what you already know about the situation. You can think about why the situation has come to pass. You can think about where it's happening, how it's happening, or when it's happening. If you ask question words when you're stuck for ideas, the chances are you'll be able to generate enough content for a 250 to 350 word essay. So that's all I have to say about brainstorming. However, brainstorming is a skill, and like any skill, the more you practice it, the better you'll get. So what I suggest is getting online, going to my site, looking at some of the essay questions there, and actually putting yourself under time pressure, giving yourself about 4 minutes after you've analysed the essay question to brainstorm some ideas, because the more you do it, the better you'll get. Thanks for listening.